Welcome to my channel, World of Stories.
Here, you'll find everything exciting and thrilling. I hope you don't forget to follow and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new content. And now, let's begin the story.
Look how far science and technology have taken us. There are things in this world that have become practically impossible to do, like robbing banks, carrying out an armed assault on a specific place, or leaking data and information from a certain entity, or take escaping from prison as an example. If you somehow manage to pull it off, it's one of the 7 impossibilities that you get away without punishment. That's because there are now protection systems that completely prevent it, especially prison escapes. We're literally talking about a dream. If God forbid you end up in prison, escaping is impossible. But let's say you somehow break that system and escape. It's impossible that you could escape a second time, because the security on you will be tighter and more precise. The probability of escaping a second time becomes 1 in thousands. So I want you to imagine being able to escape 2 and 3 times. That means we're now talking about something supernatural, because each time the difficulty increases, and each time you have to find a new way to escape. The hero of our story today broke all those rules. The man escaped from prison 3 times, and each time using the same method. He didn't dig a tunnel or jump over the wall. This guy pulled off the hardest method you could think of. Every single time he escaped using a helicopter. Where did he get it and how did he escape? That's our story today. Today we'll talk about the story of a person who drove France crazy. He mastered the arts of disguise and prison escape. And the strange thing is he repeated his escape 3 times. And imagine that one of those times he escaped by chance. But his decision-making, ability, and speed of adaptation made investigators doubt that everything was planned, because there's no way all of this happened by chance. The whole story is intense. On July 7th, 1963, specifically in the French city of Montpellier, a person named Pascal Payet was born. All sources confirm that Pascal lived a very normal childhood and life. There was nothing special about his life and no motives for him to become a criminal. But in the end, the company he kept, his young age, the street, and idle time played their role. And the result was that he took up theft. He entered the world of robberies and heists. And we'll see that he went through a series of events that turned him into a global icon. He's a smart person in everything, starting from planning and ending with reading opportunities. Pascal lived in the French city of Lyon. Then in 1988, he moved to Marseille. Nobody heard anything about him until 1997. That's when he got involved in a big case. A heist on an armored truck. The goal was to steal the money inside that truck. But unfortunately, the story ended in murder. The driver and the security guard resisted them. And after a long confrontation, he shot the guard accompanying the driver. And the man died instantly. That crime completely turned his life upside down. The reason is that before this operation, Pascal only did simple and trivial stuff. Stuck in it. He killed. And worse, he got caught. The French court sentenced him to 30 years in prison. And he said, "I'm a person who can't spend 30 years of my life in this place. So I have to escape and find a way to get out of prison." With this belief and this conviction, the story began. What distinguished Pascal from everyone else wasn't just his escape, but his way of thinking. I don't want to escape and then get caught again. I want a new way and a method that guarantees freedom completely. That's why he didn't escape alone. He thought in an organized and smart way. If he wants to do something legendary, he needs a team. He needs a network working with him. People ready to take risks for him. Add to all of this that he was a responsible man because he was married and had 2 children. So the escape story for him wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity and something that had to happen. He chose people carefully to join him. The same social situation. The story that he had kids and a wife and responsibilities. was what he always repeated to the people who were going to work with him. I'm married and I have children and my family is waiting for me outside. So I have to escape and we all have to escape. He chose people who had that too. This way, Pascal ensured that the whole team worked with him with the same belief and the same method. For Saint Escape, October 12th, 2001. Like most escape cases, the technical details and steps are heavily classified. The French security services specifically consider this a matter of national security, so most details are unknown. The information available according to the press is that Pascal was in a small prison located in a village called Lunins. This village is east of Paris. This prison was for inmates sentenced to life. It was known for its large area, mild guards, and recreational facilities. You could say that escaping from such a prison isn't very hard. And basically an inmate in such a prison doesn't think of escaping because everything he wants is available and here with him. So why escape? That's the point Pascal exploited. But he had a basic problem. The prison was in a remote area, meaning after he escapes, he'll definitely get caught because everything around him is empty space. As soon as he escapes, the police will chase him and catch him for sure, because there's nothing to hide behind. His story would end from the start. So what's the solution? He said we need a new way to escape. First, I need to form a team to help me. Pascal arrived at this prison in '98. His first escape happened in 2001, according to sources. From the first day he entered the prison, from the first step inside the wall, he was looking around and surveying the place. From the first 30 seconds, he knew what he wanted to do. Still, he didn't execute his plan until 2001. He needed a long time to form a team and get ready. The idea Pascal reached was that escaping from this prison didn't have to be from the inside. It had to be from the outside. According to sources, the difficulty wasn't the way out. There were dozens of ways to get out of the prison, but the difficulty was how to continue and where he could go. A remote village and specific roads. Any car he escapes in, the police could set up a checkpoint and catch him. So there's only one way: escape by plane. Pascal had a friend who used to work for a paragliding company. From paragliding to private aviation and from private planes to light air transport companies. The guy understood this field well. The plan was coordinated between everyone. People who work in light aviation and people who know escape routes. Trained on how to transfer from the plane to the car and from the car to the place they need to disappear in. There were criminals who had the guts and ability to enter the prison by plane. As for gathering information, that happened through coordination between lawyers and people working outside. The lawyers would carry messages to the team that would lead the operation. The messages had information about exit times, shift changes, times when focus is low. Timon played a key role in everything. He had to choose a day or a moment when security was lowest, whether because of a public holiday or a local event. That's why he said the best day for the escape to happen was the National Celebration Day. And it actually happened like this. The whole country was busy with the National Day. Pascal chose for the escape to happen during recreation time. You go out to the yard and sit in the agreed spot. Suddenly, in front of all the inmates, a helicopter approached the prison. Several armed people got out, and without firing a single shot, they warned the inmates and guards not to come close or make any wrong move, because any mistake and they'd shoot everyone here. The police and guards made the easiest and best decision not to engage with them. If they engaged, they'd put the lives of everyone in the yard at risk. In a single moment, Pascal and 4 others got on the plane. The shocking news is that the pilot flying the plane was a hostage. He worked for a domestic airline, but 3 people rented the plane to take them from one place to another. As soon as they got on the plane with him, they changed the destination and gave him the coordinates of the prison, and the pilot was forced to go there. Why? To save his life. They had a gun to his head. They entered the prison, got the inmates out, and within 5 minutes they reached the second village. There were 4 cars there. Each car went in a different direction. He got into one of the cars and disappeared. The plan was that as soon as they got in the car, they'd split up permanently. Pascal was transferred in one of those cars and then left France completely. He had made a smart plan. He had his wife and 2 kids leave France for Spain 2 months before him. They met there together and the plan succeeded, and he lived a new life. 6 days after the escape, police managed to arrest one of the inmates who escaped with him. That person was a gold mine for investigators because he gave them the first lead. They interrogated him and followed their shared connections. One important piece of information came up. Pascal's family was in Spain, so this guy would definitely go to them. That's why when we catch him at the border or we catch him there. But the most important thing was that Pascal shouldn't know that one of the guys who escaped with him was caught. And more importantly, all the news and announcements had to focus on searches being conducted inside France. That way he wouldn't know someone was looking for him in Spain. The investigators managed to arrest his partners in the operation because the inmate the police caught described their features and accents. That's how the police were able to reach them. What confirmed it even more was their financial movements. It turned out one of them had a financial link to the airline company from which a plane was hijacked and taken to the prison. When they were arrested, they told them Pascal's location. The police then contacted Spanish security, and the twist is they caught him at the port. The man was trying to escape illegally to the Americas, and the investigators knew he was in that place from his friends. His friends who escaped with him and whom the police arrested told them that Pascal was in Spain and that he wanted to migrate to the Americas to start a new life there. After he was caught, he was transferred back to prison, but this time he was sentenced to life and escape. April 14th, 2003, French security put Pascal back in the same prison, Lunen's prison. The man had memorized and analyzed every detail of the prison, and he'd already tried escaping from it. The police and government and everyone in the world didn't expect him to escape again the same way. So they said there's no problem if we put him back in the same place. At the same time, the prison administration covered all the open areas of the prison with metal mesh. Why? Fear of a repeat operation. 3 of his friends went back and rented a plane for a tourist flight. Same principle, but this time the plane was a tourist one. It's completely exposed, all glass, smaller, and its movement is lighter and faster. From the moment the plane took off, Pascal was waiting for them. Instead of giving the pilot the prison coordinates, they gave him other coordinates for a warehouse that had some tools and items they'd need for the operation to succeed. The items were a rope ladder, tools to cut the metal roof, and some M16 rifles. The plane took off and headed to the prison on April 14th, 2003. They arrived at the prison at recreation time. The plane flew over the fence at the side walkway of the prison. 2 got down from the plane onto the fence, and the plane stayed in the air. Those 2 had the mission of cutting the fence and lowering the rope ladder into the prison. At that time, Pascal grabbed one of the guards, put a knife to his neck so no one would come near him and he could escape when the ladder was lowered. Meanwhile, there were 2 people in the helicopter pointing their rifles at the prison, so if anything happened, they'd shoot at the people below. That way the prison guards couldn't do anything wrong. Also, so there wouldn't be innocent victims. When they cut the fence and threw down the ladder, Pascal got out with 3 of his friends. The gunmen were shouting, "Anyone who comes near will be killed immediately." They fired a few shots inside the prison so there wouldn't be a stampede and everyone won't want to escape. And the second thing, so the guards would be more scared and not do anything crazy. Add to this that Pascal took 3 inmates with him. The purpose of those was to distract the police exactly like the first time. So when they chase them, they chase 4 cars instead of 1. The plan, like we said the first time, each one of them would go in a different direction. And that way the probability of them being caught is lower and harder. This time the plane didn't go to a nearby village. This time they did a parachute drop onto a stadium near the prison. Inside the stadium there were 4 cars waiting for them. The plane continued on its way and the rest escaped from inside the stadium, and Pascal disappeared as expected. Only 3 weeks later he was caught in an old rural house. The strange thing is that the whole time he didn't leave the house at all. The reason is he expected the security alert that happened. The French police had planes up around the clock. Police patrols were circling everywhere. That's why he couldn't escape or go to a far area. He stayed hidden inside that rural house alone. He would go out to eat from the garbage container or eat tree leaves. The important thing was to stay alive until the police patrols eased. But unfortunately, they noticed him and came and arrested him from inside the house. Third escape, July 14th, 2007. Took him to court and he was sentenced to life in prison again. But this time they transferred him to another prison called Grass Prison. High security. This prison was on the outskirts of the French capital, Paris. There was nothing like it on earth. A high security prison that it was impossible for anyone to escape from. At the same time, the French government imposed very strict procedures on airlines. Anyone you want to rent a plane from. The process only happens with security approval and very difficult procedures. The goal was to ensure the operation wouldn't be repeated. But Pascal said, I'm a guy who only knows how to escape by plane. The first thing Pascal did was request to meet his lawyer. He told his lawyer, bring me a booklet or manual on how I can fly a helicopter. Imagine the lawyer would come into the meeting with an instruction guide. Pascal would sit and read it, and then apply it practically, and learn through imagination, meaning he would read the information and go to his room, imagining himself sitting inside the plane operating it. How many sessions did it take to learn? 41 sessions. Each time the lawyer would come with the catalog. Pascal would sit and read and learn and go imagine until he fully mastered it. After that, Pascal made a deal with 2 of his friends. The deal, I fly the plane and you cover the operation. That's why he drew them the plan route. He asked them to be creative and set the rules of the escape. This time during his education, he was charging them up and feeding them psychologically. He told them, you are responsible people and you have families waiting for you. We must not give up. We must escape and continue. Everyone became ready, but the plane disappeared. The plane stopped coming to the prison. 4 months they waited, hoping the plane would come so they could escape. Until one day while they were sitting, they heard the sound of the plane flying around the prison. They said, that's it, what we were waiting for arrived. The plan was infiltration and escape and 100 things. But Pascal had a different view. The plane, as usual, would stay for 12 hours. He told them, we'll stay until morning. As soon as recreation time happens, we'll kidnap an officer and I'll handle the rest of the procedures. The next morning, Pascal stayed sitting in his room and didn't go out for recreation. He started pretending he was having a nervous breakdown. One of the guards approached his room. Before he entered, someone pulled him inside. His friends were with him inside the cell. Pascal told him, don't do anything. Just give me your uniform and stay with the glasses here until we escape. And I swear no one will hurt you and nothing bad will happen to you. If you don't cooperate with us, my team outside is waiting. If I don't get what I want, make sure your whole family is at risk. Make sure before night comes. If I get caught or you get out of here, one of your kids will disappear. The guard surrendered. He took off the uniform and Pascal put it on. This happened within just 5 minutes. The matter was very fast. He told one of his friends, pretend you're dead. He went out with their third friend carrying this inmate as if he was unconscious. They went out shouting, we have minutes, we need to take him to the hospital. Everyone got tense. What Pascal wanted was to impose a mindset on everyone present that we won't be able to save this person's life except with the pilot. And indeed, the guard started interacting with him. All he wanted was to get to the roof quickly. Everyone was cooperating with him and everyone was rattled. Everyone was helping him until he reached the roof and they waited. for the pilot who would come take them, but Pascal asked to open the door. He told them open the roof door so the inmate can breathe air. At the same time he looks, and indeed, they went along with him. As soon as he got on the roof, they got on the plane. It's said he was able to fly it for a long time but didn't know how to land. They jumped from it over a river. There are dozens of narratives, nothing confirmed. There's a heavy blackout on this story, but in the end he escaped for the third time. He tried to live out of sight, except that on September 21st, 2007, specifically in the Mataró suburb north of Barcelona, Spanish police entered in disguise secretly into the place they got a report on. They surrounded the place where Pascal was staying without him noticing. Many reports came in that 3 new people came to live in this village. These 3 aren't Spanish. At the same time, their behavior isn't normal. Their dealings are very suspicious, wearing sunglasses all the time. Their beards are long. It was obvious they weren't normal, so the police watched them. It turned out these were Pascal and his friends who escaped from France. They had completely changed their appearance. On top of that, they had weapons and ammunition in case anything abnormal happened. The police understood that they had to be arrested through indirect confrontation. It had to be done very quickly and secretly, so the matter wouldn't turn into a disaster and there'd be gunfire. In fact, infiltration, encirclement, quick raid, and the matter ended immediately. The neighborhood residents themselves didn't know about it. It wasn't known until 4 days later after the Spanish police handed over the defendants. At that time, Pascal believed that the matter of escaping had become impossible. To this day, he is still in a secret prison inside France. Nobody knows where he is, and nobody knows if he is alive or not. His wife says he is alive and that he is doing well, but she is not allowed to disclose any other information.